Good morning. Welcome back. Yay! I know some of you have been following us over the past 2 years, watching our Zoom broadcast or YouTube broadcast, live streaming. And maybe it kind of feels familiar to be participating in our service, but at the same time, very different from watching something on YouTube and then being here with all of our friends and seeing each other and greeting each other. So it's kind of a mix of something familiar and at the same time something quite different from what we've been experiencing the past 2 years. But again, it is so wonderful to see all of you here for this morning's service. We'll begin this morning's service. Well, let me introduce, maybe some of you don't know, because we started pandemic right after Mikame sensei arrived. We've seen her many times over Zoom, but Reverend Mikame, and we have 2 of our minister assistants, Sumi Tanabe and Michael Jones. Dennis Akizuki, our 3rd minister assistant, is in the annex working with the organization day. He's putting out some material for that. So we'll begin this morning's service with Sambujo, followed by the reading of Juseige. Juseige.
ナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダー
Joe This morning, our Dharma message will be from Reverend Mikame. お願いします。
Good morning, everyone. Okay, so before my Dharma message, if you wouldn't mind, please rise for a reading of the Golden Chain. So on this page, Golden Chain is on page 2. Oh, you can recite. Okay, so please show me in Kansho. Okay, 待ってね. Okay, okay, Golden Chain. I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I'll be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Please be seated. Right. Thank you so much. All right. Again, good morning, everyone. I'm so happy that we can get together at the temple again and hear the Buddha Dharma together like we used to do. How have you been? Doing okay? Okay. And also, I'm so happy that you're here because we couldn't invite audiences to this service to this hondo for the services for these past 2 years. So I want to say welcome back to each and every one here today. It was so weird to speak to camera, actually. Yeah. But I'm so comfortable to be able to talk to everybody here from the podium, and then I have an audience here. So yeah, when you say good morning to your friend, your friends say good morning back to you. When you say see you again, bye to them, they say see you back to you. And you get to see them again. I took these things for granted. And it was just an ordinary day. It wasn't just an ordinary day in a part in a everyday life. Just a part of normal conversation with your friends. But these are really precious things. And it took about 2 years and a half, 20 years and a half for us to see each other again here since we said last bye here, right? No one thought it would be the last time in person, did they? Right? Maybe that's how we live our lives. When our founder Shinan Shonin is the right side, from you, Shinan Shonin, our founder Shinan Shonin was 9 years old. His uncle took him to Shoren-in Temple in Kyoto, Japan, so he could become a monk. There's a famous episode that when he went to the Shoren-in Temple late in the afternoon, the temple minister told him as follows: "Oh, it is already dark, so why don't we postpone your tokudo ceremony the ceremony to become a monk? Maybe ceremony until tomorrow morning." Right? This is because it is actually dangerous to conduct a tokudo ceremony without being able to see what you're doing. When a person received the tokudo ordination to become a minister, a monk, there is a ritual called okamisori. It's a ceremony of the shaving head with a razor, in which a master applied a laser blade to the student's head. That's a ceremony of the okamisori. Yeah. This remains as a remnant of the old ceremony whereby students had to shave their heads on the spot in order to be a monk in old days. Nowadays, in Jodo Shinshu, our tradition, during the ceremony, Gomonshu, our spiritual leader, does not shave their heads at the time, but just pretend to hold a razor, a blade, to the student's head as a sign of the ordination. Instead of having their heads shaved on the spot, there are various preparations that must be made in order to participate in a ceremony. A day before attending the Tokudo ordination ceremony, male Tokudo candidates have to have their heads shaved at the training temple called Nishiyama Betsuin in Kyoto. Yeah. It is not mandatory for the female candidates to shave their heads, so I didn't shave their head. But yeah, so you should shave your head, Michael. So they help with male candidates shaving. I also assisted in putting the hot towel over the heads of the men before their ceremony, before their shaving heads. So if you suddenly shave a person's head with a razor, it is actually dangerous. It gets bloody. So they use a hot towel, hot and wet towel to steam and soften the skin of the head. But there are many of my friends whose heads were bleeding because of the barber's lack of skills. Yeah. When Shinan Shonin was 9 years old, more than 800 years ago from today, there were no electricity like today. At night, so there were only candlelight. It was not safe to shave one's head under such circumstances. So they probably said, let's do it tomorrow. However, Shinan Shonin was quoted as saying, like cherry blossom as they are, they might be tomorrow. But who can tell if there might be a tempest in the night? Even if the cherry blossoms are blooming beautifully now, if a storm blows in the night, they will fall by tomorrow morning. Just like this, he compared his own life with the ephemeral life of the cherry blossom as being unpredictable. The officiant of the ceremony, the master monk Jichin, heard this poem from Matsuwa Kamaru Shinan Shonin's childhood name, and was so impressed with his poem that expressed impermanence of life. He held the Shinan Shonin's Tokudo ordination ceremony late that evening. I don't know if the 9-year-old Shinan Shonin really composed such a beautiful poem, but I'm sure that he understood that this world and this life are impermanent. In Shinan Shonin's childhood time, there were a series of famines, wars, and epidemics. So even if he said bye to his friend around him, see you tomorrow, they must have been times when he would not be able to see them the next day. I think that's why Shinan Shonin asked Master Jichin to conduct a rite today at the time, not tomorrow. Today, Honganji's Tokudo ceremony is held at the temple with all the temple doors closed, and it looked like the ceremony is held in the late evening. When I was a Tokudo candidate in Japan, I remember that we attended the ceremony and received the Tokudo rite in the dark with only the right light from the candles. That was very memorable moment that I remember after the very strict training, 10-day strict training session. Remember that. So it is the image the night when Shinran Shonin took his Tokudo ordination at the age 9. Then he went to Mount Hiei for his priesthood. From there, he spent the next 20 years searching for what life is supposed to be. The truth he realized was that life has limitations. Are you a person who is good at keeping the promises to someone or submitting your homework? When I was a child, I was not good at keeping promises and submitting homework by the due date. My mom asked me, if my mother asked me to do something, I would say, I'll do it later, or I'll do it next time, and always put my priority on what I want to do in front of me. I watched cartoon, like anime and manga, and just chill out. I was never good at submitting the things that I need to be submitted on time. And I was made people wait. My mom was here's the thing. So here's a story, important story that I realized that I need to keep the promise or make the, submit homework. My mom was an elementary school nurse, so it wasn't an elementary school that I attended, but occasionally I met the students who attended that school. One of the schools from my mom was a girl named Mie. She was the same as me. She was hospitalized with a disease called leukemia, and my mother went to visit her sometimes. So I went with her a few times. I went there to cheer her up, but I felt I was more cheer up instead. So I wanted to give something to Mie-chan. I had just learned how to sew at school, so I made the stuffed bear out of the felt, and I gave it to her the next time I went to visit her. Next time I went to visit her. I'm sure I wasn't good at it, but I remember Mie was very happy to receive it, and promised her that I would make another one and give it to you, give it to her next time. And I was going to make a girl doll, like a cheerful Mie, this time. But a few days later, I heard from my mother that Mie had passed away. I couldn't go to the funeral service. I couldn't see her face, but I asked my mother to put the doll I made for Mie in the casket. If I couldn't fulfill my promise to someone, my goal, or my homework as promised, I might be able to manage by saying, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it another time. But it was only then that Mie made me realize that our lives are not always promised another tomorrow. Since then, I have tried to keep my promise as much as possible. Looking back on that time, I would say that Mie was my first bodhisattva who made me realize what is important in this life. So Shinran Shonin continued to struggle because he couldn't find the answer and the resolutions of his struggle at Mount Hiei for his 20 years. But after meeting his master Honen Shonin, he was able to encounter the work of Mida that always embraces us in the here and now. He was able to hear that every living thing, including himself, was already in the midst of the Amida's salvation, right here, right now. So Dhammakara Bodhisattva, who is a prior stage of the Amida Buddha, has fulfilled his promise that he would not become a Buddha if he could not reach our lives with the resonance of Namo Amida Butsu, and its merits benefits our lives. Now Amida is reaching us and embraces us with Namo Amida Butsu we chant here and now. So the world is still in the constant stage of the change, always. Even our lives are in the state of the change. But we recite Namo Amida Butsu together here, thanking Amida Buddha that embraces us always. So thank you very much for listening. So I'd like to conclude with Namo Amida Butsu. Please join me in Kansho. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei. Wonderful Dharma message to return to our Dharma school with, to be mindful of our friends and family, to remember that, things do change and we should value each moment and each meeting that we have. Let's see, Gatha next. If you would join in the Gatha farewell, I think, let's see, 45? Oh, thank you very much. Page 45. Please rise. Dharma school is over for another day. Let us gather round the shrine, bow our heads and say, thank you, teacher, for your help. Thank you, everyone. Buddha's love will keep us safe till our work is done. So we'll meet again next week. Won't you take good care? Let us try to do what's right, always kind and fair. We shall spread the happiness faith in Buddha brings. Now it's time to say goodbye till we meet again. Namu Amida Butsu, sing this fine refrain. Namu Amida Butsu, sunny day or rain. Namu Amida Butsu, strong in faith remain. Namu Amida Butsu, till we meet again. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Please be seated. Let's see. Are there any announcements? Anything that...
Good morning. So our Dharma study class will start up again starting on Tuesday night, this coming Tuesday night. This fall we'll be covering The Heart of the Shin Buddhist Path, A Life Awakening by Reverend Dr. Sakamoto Shigaraki. You don't need to have the book, you don't need to be reading it. We'll just cover it with passages from it and discussion around it. If you're interested and you haven't already signed up, you can either see me or you can send an email to the office and we'll get you signed up, and it will be conducted all over Zoom. So we'll meet virtually for this fall semester as well. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's Yeah, it's great to see everybody here. It's a new year. We're going to start off strong and go through, right? It's great to be here. Just want to let you know that today is also Organization Day. So if you get a chance to go in the gym, all the different organizations and clubs, we have a table there to give you information about all the different things that we offer here at the Betsuin. Hopefully you'll find something of interest that you may want to join us in. We also have, if you notice, there was a booth out in front, and there's also one inside talking about our new Dharma Center that we're building, that we plan to build across the street. We will replace the existing education building with a whole brand new building. And so we have some artist renderings and this kind of stuff. Take a look. It's a big project we're hoping to generate some excitement for. So please, oh, and by the way, the Generations Committee, we're providing refreshments. So please go in. There's going to be refreshments there. We also have, we have a little tiny raffle. It's, you know, just free raffle tickets. They're going to hand out a couple prizes later, so please stop by and grab a ticket. I think they're going to announce the winners around 11 or sometime after 11. But anyway, please join us over there. Thank you.
Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mei Kawamoto. I am this year's Dharma School Superintendent.
Yay!
So I'll be asking for everyone's help. Let me know if I need to do anything for you. But I just wanted to let you know what rooms each of the classes are in. Oh, sorry. First, introducing our new DSPO chairs, Krista Mizusaki and Tori Sakurai. They're both in the annex right now at the DSPO table. So they have QR codes. This is going to be like high tech this year. You can register using a Google form. We also have 2 other signups that we would ask all the families to please take a look at and try to sign up for is the crosswalk duty and snacks, which is what we've missed for the last few years. And then the new one is a new mandate for teachers to each classroom to have 2 adults in the class. So where we have teachers that have only 1 adult in the class, we'll ask parents to come and be the second body. You don't have to teach, you just have to be in the classroom with them. So we're finding all the dates where teachers will need an additional adult. So if it doesn't have to be your child's classroom, it could just be any classroom. You just sit in there and observe. So if you can please go to the annex while your kids are in class and sign up for those. An email will be sent out if it hasn't already for that same sign up. So you don't have to do it today. As long as we can fill the slots in the next weeks, that would be great. So thank you for that in advance. Okay, I can't see my phone. Okay, just for classes, kindergarten and preschool, it will be downstairs in the Lotus classroom. So if you just go to the Lotus room with the nice painted door, the teachers will guide you to the classroom. First grade, same room, 26. Second and third grade, room 29. These are all upstairs. Fourth grade is right next door, room 28. Fifth and sixth grade is room 24 and 25. 7th and 8th is room 22 and 23, and then high school is in the little chapel. And I think that's it. Okay, well, have a great first day of Dharma school, and we'll see parents at the annex, hopefully. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, May. Last year was the last year of Steve Sorokubo's Dharma School Superintendent, and he served us for many years as our superintendent. And thank you, Steve. I don't know if you're in here. You maybe, I didn't see him earlier. But May Kamola has stepped up to take his place, and so we look forward to a long tenure as our superintendent. Thank you very much, everyone. Please come forward for a shoko. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks so much. Good morning. Good morning. next time. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good morning. Welcome to this morning's service. It's good to see all of you here back in the Hondo. I know it's been more than 2 years since we have been able to gather now as we do this morning. And in that time, there's been a lot of changes that have taken place, not just here in the Betsuin, but in the world around us. 2 years is a very long time. And but being able to come together kind of reminds us of some of the continuities that are a part of our lives, some of the things that are constant that we can return to and feel comfortable and feel a part of. And certainly I hope that Sunday morning services are one of those routines in a way, but kind of regular things that we can feel that is going to be there, that we can come back to and return to. And we'll begin this morning's service with the reading of Sambujo, followed by Junirai. Now hopefully the Gatha books, you have the Gatha book in front of you, in the large service book. So Junirai, 67? So large service book, this service book on page 67. Okay, let's begin the reading of Sambujo, followed by Junirai.
Namandats, 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 namandats.
If you would, please join now in the reading of the three treasures on page 8 in your Dharma school service, not the Dharma school service, but the large service book. Please rise. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be freed from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in the life of harmony, in the spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriads of ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Thank you. Please be seated. Once again, good morning and welcome to this first service back in our Hondo. I know we started earlier in the summer to begin in-person services with a limited capacity, the number of people who could attend. We didn't really have to ever worry about the number of people reaching our capacity or not. But now we are actually in our fully open our temple so that our Dharma school services started and our Dharma school classes are all back in session. There is a organization day going on next door in the annex, and I hope you stop by and take a look at that. There are the various kinds of organizations that clubs and organizations that we have to offer here at the Betsuin. And it's nice, of course, to be with all of you here in the Hondo in person. Many of us continue to participate in the service through the internet, through Zoom, and through YouTube. And it's good to take that precaution to be sure that you feel comfortable coming to a public space, that you feel comfortable about participating in our Sunday morning services. And fortunately, we are able to continue to offer, and we will continue to offer these services online, and that you can kind of also take a look at these services in your convenience. So I think, I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that, to hear the Dharma is what is most important. Whether you're here in the Hondo or lying in bed with your tablet on your stomach watching our services, that you hear the Dharma is what is important. In Nenyo's time, one of the things that Nenyo said is, I guess he was starting to build another temple, and there were concerns about the number of people that would be able to participate or to join him in the services. And he said, even if no one is there, I will preach to the mosquitoes. Well, hopefully we don't get to that point where we're preaching to. We don't have that many mosquitoes here, so I don't know who we would. So you have to show up. Otherwise, there will be no one here. But it really, that we hear the Dharma, that we hear the teachings really is what is of greatest importance. And at the core, again, at the core of the teachings of the Buddha is how do we resolve these difficulties we cause and experience. When I was growing up, and I grew up in a little area of Honolulu called Moiliili, which is below the University of Hawaii. Those of you who are familiar with that, there's Manoa Valley and then there's Waikiki over here. And as you move from Waikiki towards the valley, you come across different communities. It's kind of like communities, meaning where they were once separated, it's just one large population of housing and homes and all kinds of things that are in there now. But from Waikiki, you go into Kaimuki and then Moiliili and up into the university area and the Manoa Valley area. But I was in the Moiliili area that I grew up in. And we used to go to temple Sunday mornings, and I remember one of the most distinct, I think, memories that I have of going to Sunday school is the fragrance of, not of incense, but of freshly mowed lawn. And that's because my father used to do yard work Sunday morning, so he would cut the grass, and at that time, there was, I suppose there were power mowers, but most likely, most people were, it was a push mower. And my mother was involved with the temple, and my father would cut grass in the morning on our property. And so that's what kind of one of the strong memories that I have of going to Sunday school was this smell of freshly cut grass. But we would walk to the temple. The temple was close enough that I don't think it was even a quarter mile away from where we lived. And when I was very young, we actually walked along a dirt road to get to the temple. And there was a large, we used to call it, I think it was called Okima bush. Now, I don't know who Okima was, but it was a kind of a forested area. There was some monkey pot trees. There were other trees that, mango tree that we walked through this grove. And again, I don't think it was, as a child walking through it was kind of a long path, a long road that we walked along. But thinking about it now, really not that far. But we walked along this dirt road to go to the temple. It's hard to imagine that dirt road is now University Avenue. And University Avenue comes from straight up, goes up to the university, past King Street, and goes up into the university. And there are now, of course, many apartment units that have been built along this, what was once a dirt road. Mr. Tando is one of the people that I remember most clearly of my Dharma school teachers. And the reason I remember Mr. Tando, one day Mr. Tando came into Dharma school service and he was giving his Dharma message. Lay speaker, much like Michael and Sumi and Dennis, he was one of our lay speakers at the time, and Mr. Tando was giving his Dharma school message. And at that time it was called Sunday school, so we've become politically correct since then, and we now call it Dharma school. But he was giving his Dharma message, and his Dharma message was about smoking. Don't smoke. And so he was smoking a cigarette in the hondo, blowing smoke through this, I don't know if it was a Kleenex or a white cloth, and he was showing how the tar would accumulate if you smoke. And so I think that's why it kind of sticks in my head. To see someone smoking in the hondo was rather startling. And but that's all I remember about Dharma school. Well, no, let's see. I shouldn't say that. There are other things certainly that come to mind, but that was one of the most strongest memories that I have of Dharma school. And this was still in our small little hondo before the new building was put up. What you see now is a new temple. The new temple is 50 years old, but it replaced the old wooden temple that was there. But those memories that I have of growing up attending this temple in Warili Honganji, and it has gone through so many changes, and the area around it has gone through so many changes. But even in all of those changes, all of the time that I've been away from that temple, away from the Buddhist Study Center, which we helped kind of initiate, it's been 50 years since that Buddhist Study Center was started. And I was the reason I know, or I think about it now, is because I received an email a couple months ago asking if I had any photos of that time, because when it was initiated, Reverend Bishop Kamui Momura was bishop, and Dr. Alfred Bloom was teaching at the University of Hawaii, and they were looking for, the Hawaii Kyodan was looking for a site for some kind of a study center. And Dr. Bloom noticed that there was a for sale sign on a property right on University, and a street down from, I forget what that crossroad was, but behind the Pizza Hut. The Pizza Hut was on a corner, and this other property was right behind. And the Hawaii Kyodan, one of the few times, acted very quickly. In that time, acted very quickly and purchased this property. And we were kind of involved in this very exciting time of printing things and doing study classes. And I was involved in that group at that time. And somebody remembered that I was there, and so asked if I had any photos of that time. And I have this one photo, or a couple of photos, that was taken with right behind what was to become the Buddhist Study Center. It was a welcome reception for Dr. Unno, Taitetsu Unno. Some of you may know or remember these names, Dr. Unno, Alfred Bloom. The others, like Beatrice Yamasaki, was a long-time professor at the University of Hawaii teaching Buddhist studies. Reverend Yoshiaki Fujitani was a bishop of Hawaii. And when I was there, and there's a photo of Ryo Imamura and an old-time friend of mine, Ernie Morikubo, and they're sitting at a table, and we all have cups up, and we're drinking. I don't know, Tai is pouring Makino Sensei a drink, and no, I think that was Yoshiaki, Reverend Fujitani, pouring a drink across the table, and I have this photo of them. And it was supposed to be a portrait of the reception for Tai Unno, and they're all sitting at this table facing the camera, but sort of behaving well. Ryo has his foot up on the table and being very, irreverent, I guess. But I sent that photo along a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't hear a response for a long time. And so I had to write back. I said, I thought I may have sent a photo to you a couple days ago, and I was hoping that you had received it. And then they said, oh yeah, we got it back. And so I know they have it with them. But those kinds of experiences, those memories, the consistency of coming back to temple, coming back to participate in the activities of the temple, is this kind of a constancy. It's all changing. The Buddhist Study Center is no longer this 3-bedroom house. I don't think it was 3-bedroom. It was a 2-bedroom house maybe that was converted into a study center, a front room, kind of combined, much like what we have across the street, combined to make it large enough for gatherings to take place, for study classes to take place. There's been a new facility that was built. I don't even know if they've still have that same property. They may have sold that property and purchased a corner where this new building has been put up. A lot of changes. Buddhism reminds us of how everything is in a constant process of change. But in that change, there's some constancy, things that we can reflect on, think about, return to. And the teachings of the Buddha, of course, is at the core of all of this. Whether it is 50 years ago in a small community in Honolulu, Hawaii, or 800 years ago in the time of Shinran, or 2,500 years ago in the time of Shakyamuni Buddha. The experiences that we have as human beings, those experiences continue to be a part of what the teachings of the Buddha addresses. These continue to take on new expressions, but still at the core of the teachings of the Buddha is how do we resolve these difficulties that we cause and experience. Now, sometimes when we think about Buddhism, Buddhism is talking about these difficulties all the time, and it seems to initially, it seems as though it's kind of people have called it nihilistic, or people have called it dark, because you're always talking about suffering, always talking about how things go bad. But we don't have to talk about it. Even if we did not talk about it, we would still experience it. We could ignore it, but in our human experience, it is something common, something that we all share in. And if we can begin to acknowledge that, we can begin to address it. It's kind of like a cold or not feeling well. If you don't address that, you may not be able to resolve, acknowledge that maybe there's something wrong. Maybe there's something that I need to take care of in order to feel better, in order to begin to resolve that condition of not feeling well. And that has been consistent within Buddhism. How do we resolve these difficulties that we cause and experience? And the path to that has taken on many forms. From, Buddhists, we kind of think of Buddhism, Buddhists as not being very aggressive, but we look in history and we see that. We see where Buddhists have been very aggressive, whether from the soldier monks on Hiei to Myanmar or to Nepal, or we can look at different examples in the world and see where Buddhists or Sri Lanka, Buddhists have been very actively engaged in either suppression or engaged in activities to take over populations. Being a Buddhist doesn't mean that you are now free of that. Being a Buddhist means that we begin to recognize and acknowledge these tendencies which we have, so that we can begin to address them, so that we can begin to move towards the resolution of these difficulties that we cause and experience. That constancy over time is something that we are able to come back to here at the temple. It doesn't matter who's here, that we can know that here in the temple, here in this community, within the Sangha, there is a recognition of the importance of the teachings of the Buddha, that it is something that we strive to understand, to incorporate into the way that we see the world. Again, it's good to see all of you back here in the Hondo. But again, whether it's here or somewhere else at another time, to hear the teachings of the Buddha, it is what is of greatest importance. It can provide us some insight into how we see and engage the world. Okay, thank you very much. As we conclude, will you please join in Gassho and Nembutsu? Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. We'll conclude this morning with the Gatha, Ondokusan, on page 76 in the Dharma School Service Book. page 76. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Thank you. Please be seated. Are there any announcements? Anything? Oh, Michael.
Well, good morning again. I think same crowd as last time, but I'll say that again. This Tuesday we start again our Dharma study class. Run on every second and fourth Tuesday of the month through December for this fall term. And we'll be covering Reverend Dr. Sakamoto Shigaraki's book, Heart of the Shin Buddhist Path, A Life of Awakening. And you don't need to have the book or read the book ahead of time. We'll introduce passages and offer them up for discussion. It'll be entirely over Zoom. So if you're interested and you haven't signed up already, please either see me or you can send a note to the office, email to the office, and they'll pass it through to me and we'll get you signed up. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. There's Organization Day going on next door, so as I mentioned, you can stop by and kind of see what the temple has to offer, and please join us again next week, the 18th. Ohigan datta kana? Yeah, Ohigan. Yeah, oh, okay. Next week is Ohigan. So fall Ohigan is next week. So please come and join us for that. Our guest speaker is Reverend Candace Shibata. Shibata sensei da kana? Imada sensei is our speaker for next week's Ohigan service. Imada sensei was just transferred from Tri-State Buddhist Temple in Denver, and he is currently the minister of the Lodi Buddhist Temple and overseeing as well the Lodi and Nandatakana. There was one more temple that he's looking after. Florin? Yeah, Florin Temple. So he apologized but he's going to, he sent a recording of his Dharma message, so we'll use our fancy setup here and see Reverend Imada's Dharma message, and we'll have our Ohigan service next week. Steve, did you want an announcement? Anything? Okay.
Good morning, everybody. I'm glad to see everybody here. Hopefully we'll gain some momentum here, a little excitement going around here, things finally reopening. Just to let you know, we have what we call Organization Day next door in the gym. All the different organizations and clubs will have a little table with a display, and you can go see what's involved, what kind of things that people in the temple are involved with. If you'd like to become involved in some of these different things, I think it'd be a great thing. Great opportunity to ask questions and find out about it. Two of the big things we're showing, in fact, in front, one side, outside, we have a booth talking about our new Dharma Center that we would like to build, which will replace our existing education building. The education building is, 60 or 70 years old, and it's got a lot of issues. we're going to build a brand new, modern building across, or adjacent to it. And we also have a booth inside with the other organizations in the organization day. We're also providing refreshments. Please come out for some refreshments. The fundraising group, we're also doing a little raffle, so make sure you grab a raffle ticket. It's not a big deal, but if you donate $1 million, I'll give you the whole roll of raffle tickets, I guess. But please join us, see what everyone's up to, and hang out and meet some new people. I think that's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. What's really cool about this building that we're putting up, and I must have mentioned it before, but we're using mass timber to put the building up, which means that the material that is being used is sustainable and it also sequesters carbon. So we're hoping that the building will be a net zero carbon building. We have very little carbon footprint and trying to be as ecologically responsible as we can. But it's going to be a big project. Hopefully we'll be able to break ground next year and complete by the fall of 2024. So take a look at the project, find out a little bit more. And again, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Please come forward for Oshoko.
Did you say in person next week or virtual?
Classes? Virtual.
Virtual. I haven't received your email, so
Really?
I'm off your list.
No.
Make sure it's not ending up in junk mail.
Okay,
I always give Michael Amanda one check.
I'll check because I'm sure you're on the list. I've got like 2 emails.
Lots of people scratching me out. I'm scratched out.
No, your email from Michael might be in junk.
Yeah.
You might.
I don't know. He said, oh, that guy cannot learn anything, cannot teach or talk any new things. Is Mikame going to have a Nihongo service? Okay. I still have a chance.
Okay.
I have some kind of pseudo emergency biggest emergency. Somebody else, hey, you got to take care of this. So I said, I have to go to temple.
So you come in late, I thought, oh, maybe something happened.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm just, at least, okay. Well, even I'm the only person in Nihongo service.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, second shift. Thank you, Michael.
はようございます。本日も、サンノゼ別院の日本語法座を始めさせていただきたいと思います。YouTube から配信させていただいておりますので、そちらでご注文いただいている方もようこそ本日はお参りくださいました。ありがとうございます。お勤めはですね、三部城、重生下というお勤め、三部城と重生下というお勤めをね、させていただきます。お手元に、お経本がありましたら、ご一緒にお勤めください。三部城、重生下お勤めさせていただきます。ご一緒に合唱お願いいたします。合唱。ナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダー。礼拝、頭をお下げください。お祈りください。 さい。お直りください。ありがとうございます。そういたしましたら、来三問というね、5問をご一緒に、拝読していきたいと思います。来三問はですね、こちらの、もしお経本ございましたら、多分 YouTube からご覧いただく方はご一緒に、テロップが出ますのでご唱和ください。合唱お願いいたします。人参受けがたし、すでに浮く。仏法聞きがたし、すでに聞く。好み根性に向かってどせずんば。さらにいずれの章に向かってか、好みをどせん。大衆もろともに、四神に参謀に帰依し、奉るべし。自ら仏に帰依し、奉る。さらに願わくは主情とともに大道を大下して無常意を起こさん。自ら法に帰依し奉る。まさに願わくは主情とともに深く胸像に入りて知恵海のごとくならん。自ら法に帰依し奉る。まさに願わくは主情とともに大種を通りして一切無下ならん。無常人人未明の方は百千万号にも愛おうことかたし。我今検問し授事することを得たり。願わくは如来の真実義を下し奉らん。ナマンダーブツナンマンダーブツナンマンダーブツナンマンダーブツナンマンダーブツ。はい、ありがとうございます。はい、少しばかりお話をさせていただきたいと思いますけれども、皆さんが今日こうして、お寺にお参りしてくださっていること、そしてYouTube からご覧くださっている皆様におかれましては、もう YouTube ね、数えきれないほどたくさんのビデオがある中、たまたまこのご縁があってね、このご法話を聞いてくださっているっていうこと、これはね、どれほど時間があっても、どれほどね、健康であっても、みんながみんなできることじゃないんですよ。だからね、すごいことなんですよ、実は。ね、今日、よし、お寺にお参りしようと思っても、なかなかね、時間とか、都合が合わなかったら参ることはできませんよね。そのお寺に参ろうって、仏様のお話を聞かせていただこうっていうふうな気持ちを起こさせた働きに出会っていくということが、このご法話の中で聞かせていただくことなんですね。私、この一人だけではここまで仏様の前までたどり着くことができなかった。大切な方から導いていただいて、お育てがあって、今こうして仏様のお話を聞かせてもらっておるということなんですね。赤ちゃん生まれてからね、いきなりすぐお寺に行こうというふうにならなかった。その先にね、働きに先に備わっていた働きを聞かせていただく、そのお手回しっていうふうに日本語では言います。お手回し、手を回してどうぞどうぞと手を導いてくださる、そのことを聞かせてもらうんですね。中国のことわざでこんなのがあるんですけれども、皆さんご存知かなって思うんですが、意の中の買わず大海を知らずという言葉があるんですね。もうちょっと詳しく言うと、井戸の中のカエルは大きな海を知らないってことです。井戸の中、限られた井戸ありますよね。中にね、カエルがいる。でそのカエルは井戸の中に住んでおったら、実はそこの外には大きな海が広がっているっていうことは知らないで、その中で生きているってことですね。 私は個人的にカエルがね好きじゃないので、なんでカエルかなって思うんですけれどもね、このことわざがあるわけなんです。でそこにね、日本人の方、その中国のもともとのことわざに日本人の方がこんな言葉をつけてくださった。井の中の蛙、大海を知らず、されど空の深さを知るっていうことわざなんですね。もうちょっと詳しく言うと、井戸の中のカエルっていうのは大きな海を知らないけれども、だけども空がどんだけ高いっていうことはね知っているんだっていうことなんですね。私というのはこの目の前の世界で生きています。でもひとたび大きな働きに出会わせていただくと、この目の前だけじゃなくて、実はもっと広い世界に生かされていた私なんだなっていうところに気づかされていくと思います。ここまで来た、それまではいろんなご縁があったと思います。いろんな仏事の中、そしていろいろな方の姿を通して繰り返しお食事をいただくように私がいただいてきた、聞かせていただいてきて、ここまで来たと思います。その知らず知らずのうちにね、その身にさせていただきましたっていうところを喜べるようになるにはですね、私の力じゃないんです。私よりも先にお手回しがあったよっていうことなんですね。私の友達のね、お寺の友達で、お坊さんの、ね、友達でのメンバーの方がねこんな風におっしゃってた。日本の方ですけどね、そのメンバーの方はですね、非常に南蛮打仏って浄土真宗の教えをすごく大切にされていた方でありました。おじいさんでありまして、朝と夕方のお参りはお家でお仏壇があるから一日の中ですごく大事にされていた方だったそうです。そのおじいちゃんは初めてのお孫さんがね生まれたんだそうです。でもそのおじいちゃんは80歳ぐらいでね、初めての孫ですごい嬉しかったんだと思います。年を取ってからの初孫さん、その方は結構ね田舎の方に住まわれてたので、普段は一人で暮らされていた。そしてちょっと遠くの都会に住んでいるお子さんがおじいさんをね訪ねて、帰ってきた時のことだそうです。おじいさんは何とかしてこのお孫さんに、仏様にお参りできるようにならんかなと思って考えたそうです。そしたらあることを思いついたんだそうです。それがお孫さんの大好きなですねお菓子、日本語では卵ボールっていうんですけども、口の中に入れたら、シュワッと溶けてしまうよね、赤ちゃんでも食べれるようなそういうお菓子があるんですけども、それをねクッキーみたいなのをね一つ一つ赤ちゃんの前に並べていって、家のお仏壇のところまで、置いていったんだそうです。日本は靴脱いでますから、ここはね靴を履いて家でも過ごすかもしれませんけれども、お仏壇のところまでクッキーを置いていったんだそうです。そしたらねどう食べれるかなと思ってね、おじいさん様子を見ていた。そしたら赤ちゃんはそのねお孫さんの赤ちゃんは、その卵ボールをですねに興味持って、ハイハイをしながらこうね、まだ歩きませんからお仏壇の方まで、おじいさんのところ待っていたおじいさんのところまでハイハイをして来てくれたんだそうです。そして「よう来たな」っておじいさんは赤ちゃんを抱えて仏様の前でこうね抱いて、まだねこう自分で手を合わせられない赤ちゃんの手をですね、おじいさんはこう手をね自分の手で包んで「南蛮ダブだよ」って一緒にね唱えたんだそうです。私が生まれ育ったのは島根県ですけども、今ねここアメリカでは南蛮打仏ってちゃんと言いますけどね、子供が南無阿弥陀仏っていうのはねちょっと難しいので「まんまんちゃんまんまんちゃん」って言ってました。南蛮打仏のことを「まんまんちゃんまんまんちゃん」って言ってお参りをしていました。 小さな頃から私はお寺で生まれ育ったので、一緒にね祖母や家族と一緒にお参りをしていたんですけれども、このまんまんちゃんっていうのは実はね、関西弁、大阪の方で使われる言葉なんだそうですの、赤ちゃん言葉なんだそうです。まんまんちゃんというのは何万打仏のこと、何万打仏のことをね、子供でも分かるように、ね、まんまんちゃん、南無阿弥陀仏っていう言葉をまんまんちゃんっていう言葉にね、姿を変えた。でその中にその後にですね、なんまんちゃん、まんまんちゃん、あーっていうふうに言うんですけども、どういうことかっていうと、これもね、アナ尊しっていう意味があるんだそうです。アナ尊しっていうのは、この人は大事な人なんですよっていう意味、ね、ですからまんまんちゃんっていうところに、この仏様はあなたを大切にしてくださる方だから、一緒に大切にしようねっていう心が込められているね言葉なんだそうです。私も知らず知らずのうちにね、まんまんちゃんっていうふうにね言ってましたけども、私が何万打仏と唱える前にね、おじいさんがこうやって自分のお孫さんにこう卵ボールをね並べたような感じで、この子がちゃんと仏様に手を合わせるような、そんな子になってほしいっていうね、思いを込めて私を導いてくれていた方がいたんだなっていうふうにね、私の家族よりも前にねそう伝えてくださった方が今私にも伝えてくれて、私が手を合わせるようになったということなんです。その一つ一つのご縁をいただきながら、意の中の買わず大海を知らずだったけれども、空の深きことを知っていくわけだと思うんです。少しずつ目の前のことにとらわれていた私だけれども、こうね、手を合わせさせていただくご縁の中に、ね、目の前にしかこう目線がいかなかったことに、こうちょっと目線を上げて広い世界に、こうね、気づかせていただく、そういうふうなね出会いをさせていただくのが仏様のお話を聞かせていただくことだと思います。小さな井戸の中で泳ぐ私、カエルのような私はこの世界しか知り得ないかもしれない。でもその中にあっても知らず知らずのうちに見える世界、この価値観の世界でこうね、物事を受け止めてしまっているのが私です。世界中どこにいてもそうだと思います。私の普通、常識、当たり前で物事を見ている中ではね、そこからこう周りの人と自分を比べて一喜一憂してみたり、この人はいい人とか悪い人っていうふうに勝手に判断したり、時には自分自身にねその物差しを向けて自分自身を大事にできない、ね、そういう時もあるかもしれない。この目は目の前を見ることに精一杯、ましては人のあらを探すときはね、こういつもより大きく鋭く働くものだと思います。今ではこういろんな事件とか災害とか出来事が起こっており、この混沌の中でね、私はどこに向かって生きていいかわからない、どこに向かっていいかわからない、そんなジタバタするような状況かもしれません。でもね、そうした苦しんでいる命、私の命というのはね、今に始まったわけではないっていうふうに仏様は教えてくださっているんですね。私の命がこうしてある前にもずっとね苦しんで生きている生まれ変わり死に変わりを繰り返す中にそうして生きてきたんだよって、その私の苦しむ姿をずっとご覧になって、どうにかしてやりたいとね考え抜いてくださったのが、この阿弥陀様という仏様、ね、この仏様が、法蔵菩薩というね、菩薩様、修行をねなさっていた方時のことなんですね。その苦しんでいる姿を見て、誰一人漏れることなく、どうしたら間違いなく苦しみを超えていく仏に生まれさせていくことができるか、一生懸命考え抜いてくださった。 それはね、果てしない、時間の長さで考え抜いてくださったそうです。五行というふうに言われています。五行四唯と言いますけれども、考え抜いてどうしたらいいか。私が必ずこのものを、全ての命のものを仏に生まれさせるから、どうか任せてほしい。そして、そのあなたに、あなたが口に唱えやすいお念仏、南無阿弥陀仏と私の名を唱えるようにする。この名に全ての私の功徳を詰めて至り届くから、どうか私に任せてほしいというふうにね、願い続けてくださった。そしてね、約束をしてくださったわけです。それをね、約束を思い通り、それ通りに叶えるために、必死で命がけで私のためにご使用をくださって定めてくださったのが、今私たちがお唱えしている南無阿弥陀仏です。そんなこと言われてもちょっとよくわからんかもしれんけれどもね、そういうふうにね、なんだそうです。ね、私がやろうと思っても到底実はね、できないことをね、仏様の世界から私の方にね、働きかけてくださっている。阿弥陀様という仏様は阿弥陀如来様というふうに言われています。阿弥陀とは命と光が極みない仏という意味です。で、如来というのはどういうことかというとも、如というのはそのまま、ありのままっていうことね。如実っていうふうに言われているんですけれども、その如を取ったんですね。如実のありのままの世界から、何も自分の人間の計らいの世界から超えた仏の悟りの世界から、来というのは来たという意味なんですね。その悟りの世界から私の世界に来てくださった仏様だそうです。このね、如実の如来様、仏様の世界は真実の世界。いろんな常識、当たり前などのね、色眼鏡、とらわれをから解き放たれた世界。その世界とはね、また逆に私の生きている世界というのは不如実と言われています。そこから私のとらわれとか、みんなの色眼鏡で測っていく世界、不如実と言われていますけども、その仏様の悟りの世界から私の方に向かって届いてくれているっていうのが、今唱えさせていただいている仏様のお名前、南無阿弥陀仏だそうです。このお念仏の教えをね、に出会わせていただくっていうことはね、どういうことかっていうふうに、聞かせてもらいますと、私というのはこの世界でね、どっちかっていうとあんまり落ち着いては生きていないと思います。ジタバタして、苦しみながら、苦しんでいるかもどうかもわからないような私かもしれないですけれども、この世界でね、どこに向かって生きていいかわからない、足踏みをしながら生きているかもしれない。その中でこのお念仏の教えをいただくというのは、一つの足をですね、この世界の価値観に置いて、そしてもう一つの方をですね、一本じゃ立ちませんから、もう一つの足は仏様の世界にね、その悟りの世界に足を置いて、しっかり足をね、根付かせてバランスをとって、力強く生きていくことなんだよっていうふうに言われていますね。この世界にいながら仏様の世界にも足を置いて、バランスをとっていく。目の前のことで精一杯で、どこに向かっていいかわからない私に、大丈夫よ、世間の常識、当たり前に振り回されて、本当の命の輝きに気づけない、涙するあなたよ、この仏が決してあなたを虚しい命にはさせないから、どうか真実の願いの命の願いに気づいてくださいよと、繰り返し私がね、この聞き耳を持たなくても、背を向けていても呼び続けてくださっているのがお念仏、南無阿弥陀仏だというふうに、仏様からね、届いてくださっているそのお声だというふうに聞かせていただいています。先ほどの意の中の買わず、大海を知らずというふうにありました。仏様の働きは小さな 井戸の中で泳ぐ私、カエルにどうか広い世界に心をあなたの心をのびのびとこう解き放して生きてくださいよと願い通していてくださっています。それは今南蛮打仏と私の口に、そして耳に、そしてこの心に届いてくださっている。それはどんな私であっても、どんなにこうね堅くなになってしまっている心であっても、肩に力が入って生きている私であってもね、決して、私を見捨てずに、どうか、そのまま来いよと、私の命をね丸ごと、抱き取って、見守ってくださっている、その仏様の声であります。それには一切の条件はつけておられません。何か一つでもね条件をつけたならできない私だというふうなことをね分かってくださっているから、ね、信じることさえ、そしてお念仏を唱えることさえね全部仏様の方で、お手回しで、私の方に近づいてくださって、いるわけであります。今ねそんな、ここまで、こうしてお寺まで、そしてこの仏様のお話を聞こうっていうふうに思うところまで、ね、引っ張ってくださった、いろんなご縁があったと思いますけども、その源流を、源をたどってみると、実は、仏様阿弥陀如来様が引っ張ってくださって、今ここに、お参りをしたいっていうふうにね思わせていただく身になっているわけであります。私はただどうすればいいかっていうと、それにありがとうございますと南蛮打仏とお答えする、していく、ね、それだけで、それでむしろそれこそね仏様はよかったと、ね、今喜んでくださっているわけであります。はい、ですから、私たちは、お念仏南蛮打仏でねお答えさせていただくということですね。はい、では、これで、私のお話をさせていただく終わらせていただきます。それではね合唱で終わらせていただきます。合唱お願いいたします。南蛮打仏南蛮打仏南蛮打仏南蛮打仏。はい、ありがとうございます。このねお勤め日本語のサービスなんですけれども、毎月、第2日曜日のね11時頃からね配信をさせていただいております。配信だけではなくてお寺もねもう今リオープニングされて、どなたでも、こうサインアップねしなくてもお参りしていただくことができますので、どうぞ皆様で足を運んでいただければと思います。はい、次回は10月9日、来月の10月9日の日曜日11時からまたこちらのお寺で、そして YouTube でも配信をさせていただきます。暑い日が続いておりますけれども、どうぞお体を大事になさって、それぞれね大事に命を生きていただければと思います。はい、ありがとうございます。